you came here on a leave of absence and you just never went back.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Felt pretty good to me, being over here, Maui.
You ever stomp on it around town?
I have, yeah.
That's so fun.
Light them up, Bob.
So tell me something about Ole.
I just heard about him from guys in the water.
Really?
Yeah. That he had been shaping for a long time, came from California to here and made classic nose riders.
Ole surfboards?
This is my Ole board. This is a board that I bought after I reintroduced myself to surfing. I'd bought an epoxy board, I'd ridden it a while, decided I'd graduated to buying a real surfboard.
Ole, what can you say about Ole? He's a freak. I mean, guy is, who's 86 years old and still making a living shaping boards. I mean, nobody is like that in our industry. There's guys that, licensed out their name and had boards made overseas, but Ole always kept pure. He didn't want to do that, and or his wife Bev. They wanted Ole to be an Ole, something that he hand shaped and he touched, and and that's why we carry his boards, because we're fortunate enough to be his only dealer, and we've never taken that for granted. And it's one of the reasons why we organized the Ole Longboard Classic 22 years ago. And I remember the first contest we had a 16 over division, and Ole was the only one that qualified. And now the 16 over is one of the most popular divisions. So in the 22 years, it's been an unbelievable contest, and a throwback to the old longboard contest, the 60s, where people just wanted to enter just to have fun. It wasn't matter if you won, but more that you participated.
Ladies and gentlemen, aloha. Welcome to the 23rd annual Ole Longboard Classic. My name is Jack Starr. I worked very late last night. I was hanging out with Willie K after the show, having a couple cocktails. It can happen. When Willie says, let's have one, we have one. So I'm here, and we're going to do some announcing, and we're going to tell you what's going on in the water. We've got... I hope Bob's getting down there. I saw his truck. He is the master of the longboard, arguably probably the greatest longboard shaper in the world. I know there are many that'll argue it, but Bob is very well known for his magic carpets, which is a culmination of many riders through the 70s when Bob arrived here. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But in the meantime, I'm going to get my bearings and find out who's at our Kihei Peak and who's at our Lahaina Peak, or what divisions you're watching. I see there's an on-deck circle out here. You can see a bunch of people in the channel. They're waiting to be distributed to each peak. So we'll get the show on the road. I'm going to find some heat sheets, and we'll talk stories some more. In the water right now, all these riders are specifically riding 9-foot longboard shaped by Bob Ole Olson, the namesake of this great event. An absolute shaping, surfing legend in the history and the almanacs of surfing. If you get a chance to see him today, I wouldn't blame you to go up and get an autograph or shake his hand, but I'm going to have him sign my shirt, that's for sure.
Ole has that, sort of air about him, he just, it's all about, I know our t-shirt from last year was, can't everybody just get a long board, and that's kind of kind of Ole's mantra. That was a bumper sticker on the back of his truck for years.
How did you and Ole meet?
I think, like, you know, a lot of people, you know, ordered a board from him. I think it was 1988, you know. It was a triple stringer with a tail block, and yeah, it was unreal. And I still got that board, actually. It's a little beat up, but the cool thing is I just ordered one for my son, you know, my 27-year-old son. You know, it's going to be his first Ole. I just picked it up, and triple stringer with tail block. Same color, yellow. I'm sure you talk to most guys, they, you know, on this island, that longboard, everybody's got an Ole somewhere in their garage or on their lanai or, you know, underneath their house.
Did you ever wear
You know
wetsuit?
what? I did wear wetsuit, well, later, but we used to take our pants and cut them off a little longer. Pants and cut them off so our knees would be covered, because kneeling those boards was really hard on your knees. The heavy boards, the redwood balsa decks.
Oh, okay.
The idea was you put redwood on the rails and redwood in the center for strength.
Okay.
And the balsa about 6 inches in the middle between. That's where your knees would fit and be softer.
Oh.
We were so overboard on strength. Jesus.
And now look what we got.
Yeah, you lose your board, then it hits the pier at Huntington Beach. If you lose it, it goes into the pier. It's just,
It takes out the pier.
yeah.
Back then.
Just about.
Now the board disappears.
Oh yeah, now you take a board and you just first go out, dive underneath the wave, and it's gone.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Guys that got new boards have never even gotten a wave on them and they're broken half.
How cool is Ole's 60s pickup? That thing is so classic. I mean, that's just a part of Ole. You see that, and it just exudes longboard.
It's a 63. Okay. And I just had it restored, all the bodywork done. Just got to get the doors to fit properly and a few little bugs. But it's a nice truck.
What all have you done to it?
Well, the whole body's been gone over, welded. Nothing, no Bondo, just everything welded in pieces where it was rusted. After it got over here, 25 years on Maui, it started rusting. But I took it and painted it when I first got it. And it was in great condition. So I just got in there, took the fenders off and everything, took it all apart, and putting on rust killer inside and all that stuff. And then painted it. My neighbor sprayed it, and it came out nice. Got a big old V8 in it. They're one of their nicest motors.
Is it clean?
It's a,
Is it like a built-up motor, like the old days?
they call it 327.
Yeah.
327 V8. I got a power booster for the brakes. But guys see this motor and they go, oh man, camel heads, and
Runs pretty good.
seems to. You heard this thing, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
And they did the inside of it. Tried to do it original.
That's pretty cool.
Same color paint as I thought it was done on the inside.
You think that's original? The color?
Yeah, I mean, I just, copied the original color. Tried to. Japanese razor claws. Look at that beautiful grain in there. That's a kind of a, oh, I shouldn't have. Why did I duck it? Don't duck.
So what kind of wood
Redwood?
is in there?
This is kind of a burl redwood. It's got the burl look to it. Still got a lot of work to do on the board, but I get them to a point now. I'm sorry, let them rust for a little bit.
Hey, aloha. Met Bob Olson a few years ago, but this is my first Oli and really enjoying it. Love this wood inlay on this. It's really cool. Shaka.
There's only a certain boards got this.
Right.
This patch.
How long have you been riding for him?
I've been riding for Ole for a good 6 years, 7 years now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you won like a championship or something for the
I won
Oli.
the last 3 chemos contests, and then I won 2 total the Ole's competition. Yeah.
What is it that you like about Oli's boards?
Ole's boards.
What
This
is
is
it
a
that's
long
making
history
so
to him.
special?
It's magic. Anything that comes out of his hands is magic. It's like riding a magic carpet. Like I tell everybody, they can ride any other board, but try getting on the nose on his board. I mean, you'll see a big difference. The nose riding in his boards, he knows the whole trick on shaping nose riders. Yeah. Yeah, he has, it's a legendary. He's
How many boards do you got of his?
1, 3, and I have 5 other boards besides the ones I won. So total 8 boards. On this board, we kind of like brought back the old school models. He found his 60, I think 1960 template. So we kind of used that, and I have a good buddy of mine that I surf with out in San Diego. His name is Josh Hall, and he gave me the idea of, you know, pinching, like using a pinch rail, and I kind of brought it up to Ole, and he thought it was a good idea too, that we put it all together and kind of bring it back to life, the 60 models.
Awesome.
And if you notice, if you look at it, it comes real wide on the bottom and real narrow on the nose, and that's, back in the day, that's what the boards are, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bringing it back to life again.
What does that concave in the nose do?
Concave,
You
like
know,
for me, I think it kind of holds me on the nose rides.
Oh, does that help on
Kinda like,
the nose?
yeah, it gives it
Keeps it out of the water, maybe.
probably the water, the way the water flows through it, yeah.
Right.
But I'm still kind of learning on the concaves and stuff like that, and try to put all pieces together. Watch everybody's, or look at everybody else's boards and kind of, you know, ask questions too,
Right,
and
for sure.
try to put it all together with Ole. Use
Awesome.
Ole's knowledge and what I know about, you know, boards by asking questions out there. And that's what this board is. It's a new model. Hopefully we can come up with Ole's model, bring it back to life, the 60s.
60s model.
Yeah.
Old school.
It's old school.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Gonna have like heavy glass on it.
We're going actually with a 666. I'm actually talking with Gott and asking him, because I want weight on my board. The more weight I feel like, it's like the more push on it, you know. But yeah, if you notice, I don't know if he wants me to show this, but look at his list right now. This is his list of boards, that how much people, his ordering list. That's how busy he
It's
is.
amazing.
Yeah, and you can
86
tell
years
already-
old, right?
I think he's 86, 87?
Oh, 87.
Or, Ole, how old are you? How old are you?
How old?
Yeah,
85.
85.
85.
Yeah, in a couple of months I'll be 86.
And the hardest working man on Maui.
Well,
What is it? How did you end up here in Maui?
oh, I was a school teacher for 10 years, 14 years actually. I took a leave of absence to see some friends and came over and stayed.
Have you always been in Lahaina, or?
Yeah, I got a house here when they first moved here. They were giving these houses away.
Oh, is that right?
Well, government subsidy
Right,
homes, you know,
yeah.
and everything, so I qualified. And then after the house happened, oh, geez, no sense going any place.
Right. So, everyone that I have spoken to has called your boards everything from like riding on a cloud, a dream, surfing on a work of art. What's your secret?
Well, I like doing what I'm doing, and I've always had kind of a feeling for making surfboards. I always wanted to, I didn't know it was going to be in business, but I always liked the idea. And I used to, when I first started surfing in the late 40s, we used to make our own boards. And so I kind of got in the habit of doing it. Of course, those were old wood boards. Foam came out in around 58 or so, 58. And I went to my friend who's made foam, a guy named Harold Walker, got a couple blanks and took them home to shape them, but they blew off the car on the way home and broke in half. But we still made them. We glued them together and abstracted them and put color in them and everything, and took them down to the beach and I got 5 orders. So I said, well, hell. So I had those 5 orders, and then I got a couple more orders, and then the thing just kept going along, and that's what happened. A lot of it was timing. You know, I was there when right before Gidget came out, you know, late 50s, and so I was right with a group of other guys that were started building surfboards too.
Wow. So, if someone gave you an order and just said, Oli, I want you to build me your dream board. Like, if you could just pick any materials or any style, what would you do if it was just your choice?
Well, you mean I'd use foam and single stringer.
Simple.
You know, make it simple, but shape it. Yeah.
And Eric here was telling me that this is you're trying to resurrect an older style.
Well, we are in a way. They're switching. It used to be a little wider in the nose area and a little narrower back here in the tail. Now, this board here has got a little wider tail, say an inch more, and it pulls in a little more in the nose. Just kind of reversed it all.
I see.
But that works good because this loads up a lot of water on the tail back in here. When you're standing on the nose, you need something to go slower, you know, something kind of a drag back there.
Right.
So a little wider tail makes that happen. And softer rails.
And so will that have like a glassed-in fin? We'll have a fixed
No, we
fin?
use boxes mostly.
Boxes?
Yeah, it's so much more practical.
Yeah, because if something happens, you can replace it easy.
Traveling in, you can change the fins, and you've got a lot of options.
So have you been in this particular location the whole time?
Well, I've been in Lahaina the whole time, but I had a little shop. First little shop was where that Shell station is down the street.
Oh, is that right?
There's a little old garage there, you know, local garage.
Right.
And a house, and the garage is falling apart. We poured concrete, cement on the floor, and I rented it out and started making my boards there. And then I moved down to the old cannery where Safeway is now, and got a place in there. And everyone was in there. Guys are building boats, and you can get a haircut in there, or get a boat built, or a lot of different things, you know. And so there was a couple other board builders in there, and I went in there and built boards.
What's the most unique request you've got for a board?
Unique?
Yeah, just something that's different that you weren't expecting, or custom, someone who wanted something.
Well, I've been doing redwood boards, solid redwood boards.
Oh, interesting.
And balsa boards, which are pretty unique. And they're wall hangers mostly. And the wood comes from the wine vats, so it's old stuff.
Wow.
Real old wood. The floor of the wine vat. I got some of it in the other room, you can see it.
Oh, awesome.
And balsa wood. I made some balsa wood boards too. And I've still got a couple to do.
One of the really interesting things about this board that I found when I first saw this stack of redwood was that it came from a decommissioned fermentation tank in Napa. And as I chatted with them about it, there were a number of boards that were in the process of being built, and there was a number of boards that had been finished. And they had, some of them had stringers in them, some of them had different size widths of laminated redwood, and the tank was 100 years old, 120 years old. And if you look close at the wood itself, it's old growth redwood, and the rings are like so close together. It's just a fabulous piece of artwork. It's a wonderful piece of wood, and it's warm and wonderful.
How much longer are you going to do this? I mean, not today, but, you know, for like...
Yeah. Well, I closed 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to stay 20 minutes over that. No, I don't know. I have no date.
Forever.
Yeah, I just keep moving along, and
He can't run away
I gotta
from
have
me.
something to do, you know. That's nice. And I'll be 86 in a couple of months, so
Oh, is that
I
right?
figure, what else am I gonna do? You
Well,
know,
yeah,
it's
you're doing
a little,
great.
little late to start a new.
Right. Well, you're obviously in demand based on the list on the wall there. And
Yeah,
so you've got your own team.
I got my own team. I don't need anyone else. This guy is great.
Yeah,
Eric is.
that's awesome.
He
So you-
made me this person
Oh, is that right?
right here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
The carpet, the magic carpet. From day one, the day I got on that first board, I never bought a new board. I bought his used board, one of his personal boards.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
You
and
still got it in the back too.
yeah, that board was the magic board. That's what started it all off.
Oli, do you still surf?
No, I haven't surfed in about 2 years. Knees, back, note from my mother. I got all excuses. But you know, I haven't been surfing in a couple of years.
So when you did surf, were you like,
I was an okay surfer. You know, I liked it. I wasn't doing aerials, or I wasn't doing charging giant waves or anything. But I was out there a lot. I surfed a lot.
oh, that's awesome. So if someone wanted to make a board, what's the process as far as, you know, they come to you and they say, I want this long board?
Pretty much. Yeah, and they say, well, I haven't surfed very long, I want a board, and I ask how much they weigh, and that determines a little bit how big it'll be, because it's a long board, so you want a little more glide, and older guys, I get a lot of 50, 60, 70-year-old guys that want to ride, you know, cruise a little more, where the hot rod kids, they're all riding boards like this here, you know, and underwater, but anyone else couldn't ride that. And then there's a young group of people like Eric who started riding longboards, and
Do you pretty much exclusively make longer boards?
yeah, right now that's all I'm doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how many boards do you think you make in a year?
I'm at 60 this year. I was 126 last year. And the year before that, I'm not sure. 152 it looks like, yeah. So it was 150 year before that.
Wow.
So I've been doing around that lately. I'll probably kind of goal is 100 boards this year. Hate to put numbers on things like that. I just kind of, because some of these are wood boards and they do take a lot longer.
Right. Well, that is an incredible feat for anything, regardless of whether it's a surfboard or I don't know, anything. I mean, to make that many things, that's like 2 a week. Right?
Yeah. Then I got a glass shop, and I'm not glassing them, so
Right. But
they
still,
live in there for a while.
well, just from watching you work and the meticulous care you take to do things right, have you also always been so detail oriented?
Excuse me?
Have you always been so detail oriented as far as, I mean, this is the ultimate detail. This is
Well,
like a finished carpet.
In my mind, I hate detail.
Oh, is that right? Well, how'd you end up
I'm the
here?
kind of guy that likes to get in there and rough them out and want someone else to finish them. But I'm stuck with it, and all those years teaching, and you kind of look at things in a little more detail.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you're using those Japanese saws and little picks and custom tools that you've obviously crafted yourself over the years.
You develop that kind of stuff as you go along, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got all kinds of little things.
Yeah, I can imagine that you've probably forgotten more than most people know. So, do you ever have like young up-and-coming shapers that come to you in hopes of getting advice from you?
Not too many.
No?
No. There's a few guys that want to learn to shape, and I said, come on in. They sit them on the corner,
Yeah.
and after they see what goes on, they get nervous and they walk away. Or they come back. Maybe a couple of guys have built boards that I've had work for me.
I see.
And there's a couple of guys around.
That's why I came back on logging was, try to open the doors up for the younger generation so, we don't forget where it first started.
Right, exactly. You know your roots, right?
Right.
You said that you came here on a leave of absence and you just never went back.
Yeah.
Why was that? What do you think?
It felt pretty good to me, being over here, Maui.
Right?
And plus I got a place to live here, real reasonable, so that made it easy. It was a lot of timing, you know, and then I started the surfboard business a few years after that. I didn't build surfboards right away. I went sailing and did some things like that, but anyway, I started building boards and just kept going, still doing it. I think I had a feeling that I wanted to do something. I loved surfing when I first saw it when I was just a little kid. And I carried it through so much that I just ended up doing it. And I think that's the trick, is if you like doing something, do it. I mean, so many people have jobs and they don't like their jobs, they can't wait to retire, but find a job that you can't wait to go to work on, if there's such a thing, you know, and take it in that direction.
Hi, my name's Eleanor, and this is my one of my 6 Oli boards, my latest one, and it's a nose rider. It has 50-50 rails, has a bit wider nose, but still has the concave in it that he's famously known for. He's such a craftsman that he makes these boards like a fine piece of furniture, and so when you get an Oli board, you're actually getting art. And that's why I only ride Olis. And yeah, this board's an amazing board, single fin, classic nose rider. And yeah, this is what I ride when it's smaller, and then I ride my Performance Eleanor model when it's got a little size. And Oli, when you get an Oli, you not only get, you know, a surfboard, like there's so many around, but you get the essence of someone that has put his whole life into making boards. And there's nobody like it. He's been making boards for 50 plus years. So when you get an Oli, you're getting 50 plus years of experience in your board. And he's the eternal draw. You'll never find anybody more frothing for surf and surfboards than Oli. So, yep, I'm an Oli fan. Have been for many years and will continue.
Hi, I'm David Gott with Gott Glassing, and today we're going to be glassing a Oli board, and we're going to do red tint. So I'm going to start taping it off and getting ready to go. And I do 3 layers of tape so it's wide enough, so that way when I'm pulling the resin over the top, we don't get all over the flats right here. Push the tape down with the razor blade.
What kind of cloth are you using, David?
This is 6-ounce E cloth. I like to use the E on the tints. That way it doesn't take on the pattern of the cloth. Like a warp cloth has a different kind of pattern in it, and E is more square, so you get a nice even tint. And when you do cut lines, you don't really, you don't have to worry so much about cutting the cloth real clean, because you're going to end up trimming it with the razor blade anyways. So you cut it wide to make sure it goes over the tape.
How many Oli boards would you say you've glassed?
Gosh, I've been glassing for Oli for 16 years now, so I guess 16 times 200, a lot. Some years more, some years less.
I bet every color imaginable.
Oh, we've done everything you can think of on his boards. We've done fabric inlays, we've done resin panels, I've done epoxy redwood boards, balsa wood boards, glass-ons, boxes, acid splashes, the whole, anything you can think of we've done on Oli's boards that has to do with resin color. And with tints, you got to use more resin than normal. Like normally to lay up a bottom of a board this size, I'd use one of these. And with a tint, you got to use 1.5 buckets. That way you get a full saturation, so the color's real even and solid. And I mix these back and forth so I make sure they're the same color. Because on tints, the amount of color that you put in the resin dramatically changes the color of the resin that goes on the board. If you got less, it turns out lighter. You put more, it comes out a lot darker. So you don't want to have your fill coat bucket lighter or darker than your basic lamb. Okay, here we go. And voila, we're having a red surfboard. And when you squeegee it, you want to try to get it to squeegee out really even. Otherwise, you'll get streaks in the board. So that's one of the hardest parts, is getting a nice even tint. And part of that comes with a clean shape job from Bob Olson of Ole Surfboards. And voila! Next, I'm going to do a fill coat. And it's almost like lambing the board twice. This makes sure everything is totally filled in. And there's no little air pockets or parts where it's not saturated real well. You don't want to have any drips or anything like that, because any part where the resin's thicker, it'll be darker. And it's done.
Cool. What would be the next couple steps to do until completion?
The next
of
step
this board.
On this board, what I do, I'll flip it, and then I'll take a razor blade and I'll cut the lap line on it. The deck will be yellow tint on the deck, so I'll do a different color on the deck, and then I'll put a black pin line on it. Then we gloss and polish it, and it's done.
Tell us a little bit about Bob. You've known him for a long time, right?
Oh yeah, I love Ole's boards. They're just the classic longboard. They nose ride really well. They're just nice, real easy surfing longboards. Like especially for spots like Mala or say Laniapoco or what have you. They're a classic 60s longboard, and there's not a whole lot of people that are able to still build that style today and do it as well as Bob does. You know, even as many years as he's been doing it, he's still really, really fantastic at his craft, and I look up to him as a human being for keeping his vitality for all these years. I hope, you know, I can do that myself, you know, stay a young man forever. Gosh, what else about Bob? There's so many people that look up to him, and he's, you know, a living legend, and we're fortunate to have a sport where we still have legends that are alive that have been here since the beginning of making surfboards. I don't know of any, like motor racing and things like that. There's not really, that doesn't exist. And he's a living piece of history, and it's fantastic to know him and to be able to discuss designs with him and build surfboards for him. And he's just an all-around great, humble guy. And he's a good friend. Like I said, he's so young at heart. He seems the same age as I do. He's just an all-around good man.
Man, thank you, Bob.
Got to put the pin on it, or do you? Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna pin line it.
You are gonna pin line it?
Well, yeah.
Sweet.
You have a pin line on the order card.
Stoked with it.
And you wanted the concave pin line too.
Oh yeah, beautiful. I picked up this board off of Craigslist, this Ole, and it had been on the wall for years. This guy just hung it up, and it was in immaculate condition. And the first time I rode it, it was like being on a cloud.
So here we are in Maui. It's my garage. Surfboards everywhere. We're in Kihei. We've lived here about 8 years. Why Ole? Because Ole's the master surfboard builder, and he makes the most beautiful surfboards, does the most beautiful woodwork. Everything about his surfboards are beautiful. They're works of art. Surfing one of his boards is like surfing a living work of art. It makes the smallest, most insignificant surf fun because you're on this beautiful work of art. The I've got 10 of them. How many you got, Howard?
I think we have, between my son and I think we have 9 with 1 on order. And again, as you said, Ole's boards are really works of art. We really enjoy them.
How many do we have on display? You've got 1 in your house on display, and then the Rumseys, they've got 2 on display up in their house.
They do, and you've got 10 up here in the rafters. And I think we have 9, and again, 1 on order.
I'd have 25 if it wasn't for my wife. She's the limiting factor. She said, she won't let, it's like, why do you have so many surfboards? Because you know what? There'll come a day when you won't be able to get one. So I'd have 25 if I could.
Fred and I really relish traveling up to Ole to pick up one of our custom-made boards. But it's always a real treat to be greeted by Roxy and get to see his old 63 Chevy truck that he used to haul surfboards around in. But just to see the master work in his small shop really just lends a lot of credence to his skill and artistry, and the shaper who is clearly the gold standard here on Maui.
It's a real treat. It's real special to go visit Ole. I always look forward to going to visit Ole. Can't get enough Ole t-shirts, and it's just something I always look forward to. In fact, I'm looking forward to ordering another one here in a couple of months. I've got the okay to order one after the first.
Certainly is one of the great shapers of the world. I think that's one of the reasons when a first-rate restaurant like Duke's wants a custom-made redwood board, they turn to Ole, who's been making them, including a 17-foot redwood board for their new shops down in San Diego and La Jolla. And again, the reason they do it is just the outstanding custom work he does on his boards.
I think one of the unique experiences about Ole, what makes him so interesting, is that he makes each individual board himself. He's shaping it by himself. It looks much like what I saw when I was a kid back in the late 60s of people making surfboards one at a time, and he's still doing it. He must do it because he loves it, and he sure makes works of art. And they're sure covered it here in Maui. And I don't know what else to say about it. I just love the Ole surfboards.
He's always a real gentleman, and just a great treat to sit before him and order the board that you want. And he'll have some ideas on maybe how to tweak it a little bit for better performance. And he has the records dating back to the 60s on all the boards he's made in the past. And in fact, several surfers I've recently talked to have been going through the 1960s to find a certain rail feature that Ole used back in the day that they want to replicate now here in 2015. Ole's got a great history of 60 years of making boards, and again, it's just a real treat and honor to go up there and see the head of the surfing family here in Maui.
He's got that picture of him in front of that shop. Was that in Seal Beach back in the 40s?
I think it was Seal Beach.
Quite the character.
We're all the beneficiaries, and it's always a real treat, again, to go up to his little one-man shop there and see the great work he turns out every day, day by day, and working with clients and the entire community to help give surfing a voice here in Maui, and nobody does it better than Ole.
Yep. You know, Ole's been doing it for so long. I guess part of the thing with all the extra boards that I'm setting aside, or so I have the Ole surfboards into my 70s and 80s, because there will come a time when Ole won't be around, and the world is really going to miss him. There's just not very many people like that at his age that are still doing what they love to do, and so I'm setting aside as many as I possibly can so I have those to ride in the future. But he's quite the guy. I mean, to be his age, still making surfboards in the little building there in Lahaina, as hot as it is. It's a lot of work making the boards, not to mention breathing the fumes and stuff that he's been doing his whole life. So I really appreciate being able to go in and order a board from him. And I've asked him to, see, I'm turning 66 this year. I asked him way back when I turned 63 to number that board 63. So I have board number 63 the year I turned 63, 64, 65, and 66.
And I followed in the same vein with boards 68 and 69 and 70. And again, it always is a real treat on to work with Ole. And my sense is, having lost Hobie this past year and Dewey Weber and so many of the other great shapers and surfers over the years, we are all the great beneficiaries of Ole's work. And it's just so important for Donovan and his crew here to share this great story with the rest of the surfing community. Ole is, again, the gold standard for shapers here on Maui and enjoys a rich reputation. He's just so sincere and really cares about each individual client and product he turns out, and we're just delighted.
Everyone we get is a beautiful work of art, and I'm very happy with all of mine.
Absolutely, and I think the one thing we all share here on Maui at our age is Maui's a great place to end the race well, and Ole is continuing to do just great work and living the dream.
Well, here's one of my boards I bought for future use. I've got like 3 unwaxed, unridden. This is a 9.9. It was made a couple years ago. It's 3 stringers, tail block, nose block, orange tint. Work of art. Unridden, made for the future.
All right, so this is a 9.8 nose rider. You can see it's a red tint with a yellow deck. We got the beautiful Ole logo with the lay work up here on the top, black pin line, single stringer. It's pulled in a little tight towards the tail. This board's about 22.5 inches wide. It's got a wood tail block on it, squash tail, pulled in a little bit. Beautiful yellow deck. And on the bottom you can see the beautiful tint job I got. Again, it's got the nice lay logo on the Ole's. We've got a green Al 4A on this, pulled in a little bit. It's got a big deep concave in the nose from spending some tip time at Lani Poco. Another beautiful piece of art from Bob Olson. Aloha.
How was it? That was great. What are you riding?
9.6 Ole with red tint.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I got it for graduation from high school. It was probably my first surfboard actually, and I couldn't have asked for a better board. It's sick. But yeah, want more.
How many more are you gonna get?
Probably just 2. I wish more.
Hi, my name is Barbara. I moved to Maui from Switzerland, and I was lucky that Eleanor started teaching me how to surf on the Ole board, and I really love it. And so Ole made me last December that nice orange Ole board, and I'm really happy and proud to be an owner of one.
So yeah, Ole's the man, and he puts his essence into his boards. When you get an Ole board, you're getting a piece of art, and there's something that is transferred. It's just like what the Dalai Lama says. The Dalai Lama says if somebody's angry in the kitchen, you're going to get indigestion, you know? If somebody's as happy as Ole is in the shaping room and as stoked and as skilled, you're going to get something good out of that, you know? So it's a cause and effect thing, you know? You get part of his, you get to ride part of his disposition, so to speak. And yeah, so yeah, Ole. And he made this board. He calls it the Eleanor model. I never named it. So I got one. Yay! And yeah, shoots, and that's, yeah, so that's been great. I've been turning other people onto that board, and other people have ordered it, and I'm really happy with that model too. But yeah, and I go to his contest. We have the Ole contest every year in August, but I go in just because, just to support him and you know, just give him thanks for, you know, all his input into my life, into my surfing life, you know, makes it alive, you know, having someone like that working on your boards, and you know, it just brings life to it. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the artwork that Ole does. He's done surfboards that are countertops and he does these beautiful small boards that are replicas, but they're just incredible pieces of art, just beautiful pieces of art. Besides being a surfboard shaper, he's just an artist. He does beautiful artwork. Anything he touches with wood turns into art. He never does anything half-ass. It's always finished and beautiful. And I mean, he could have made a career alone in just his artwork, but you know, he's a surfer at heart, and he always has been, even though he's not surfing now. I'm sure he is in his dreams. You know, he's never going to take the surfer out of Ole. He's definitely surfing someplace. And like all of us, we hope to be surfing even after we pass. Behind every great man is a greater woman. No, but Bev's amazing. She's helped him keep on the, like he says, she's what, upper management? Do you call her? She's definitely upper management. Also, Bev is an amazing surfer. Yeah, Bev is an amazing surfer, Ole's wife. She was graceful. She could just turn on a dime. She was just a very, very accomplished surfer. She's not surfing much now, but she says she's just getting back into it. So she'll probably be back in the lineup pretty soon. But she's definitely an incredible, good surfer. I took my Ole out that day, and I was just having fun and got up, did a little nose styling, I guess, and somebody snapped the picture, and it's been on Facebook and a crazy thing. So, a friend of mine came here and took it off the wall and put it on Facebook, yeah. But anyway, yeah, Ole, couldn't talk enough about him. I think he's fantastic. I think this is great that you're doing this because he needs to be recognized for his great input to the surfing community and how much he has given, And I get back always to his attitude, I mean, his attitude, you cannot find a better attitude for somebody to make a board for you.
Hi, my name is Kana Saita, and I love surfing at Lanio Poco, and I love this my Ole board very much. This is actually my second Ole board, and the first one is a really classic longboard, single fin, and this is a kind of high performance board, and I really like riding in a big wave like Honolulu Bay. I love my Ole board, and also Ole is really popular in Japanese surfer too. So I love Ole. Thank you.
Kind of subtle, but then all of a sudden it happened pretty fast. And the really short boards around the 70s. Didn't make any longboards hardly. I did. I made a few.
You did?
Now I think everyone got older and they all wanted longboards again. They started realizing there's a good spot for them. There's a good place for them in the thing.
Well, shoot, everybody knows from that time period, if you just watch the videos from then that Bruce Brown was making, they were riding longboards on 20-foot waves back then. Right? Yeah. Look at Greg Knoll at Waimea.
Yeah, they had them shaped like guns, pretty much.
Right.
Right.
But they were giant.
Yeah. Yeah. Bruce going to make this movie. He was going to travel around. So this kid I knew, Robert August, his mother wanted me to make him a board for this trip. I said, okay. So I made him a board. Yeah, and I finished it, and it got finished. I took it over to his house. Here's the board. Oh, great. And I said, well, that's $75. I mean, it was only, most of the time it was like $95. I gave her a discount. She got pissed off. She wasn't gonna have anything to do with me anymore. They went to Jacobs.
Yeah.
And that's what Jacobs got the board and took.
That's the one they took around in Endless Summer, huh?
Endless Summer.
You could have had your board in Endless Summer if you didn't charge $75.
Yeah.
What did Jacobs charge?
But you know what? No one's decals ever showed.
Pretty cool. He makes an exquisite piece of art. It is completely and utterly rideable, and it's one of the most beautiful things you can ever put your feet on. That is a replica of one of the Duke's boards. We get orders for these all the time, and that's what keeps me busy. I'm a woodworker. Get to work with one of the nicest men you could ever know, and all the knowledge you ever need right there. And he's continuously teaching, always. Always coming in and saying, well, this is what we got to do here, and this is what we got to do here. And even when I'm like, hey, I'm stuck, what do I do now? He'll come in, he'll take a look at it, and he'll take out that planer and go, and like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So, because you don't know. If you ask something and you want some knowledge, he'll answer it for you. He's got it down. That's why they call him the master.
Bob Olson, better known as Ole to surfers, a humble legend in Maui and abroad. a true master craftsman at surfboard shaping. 5 years ago, he became the 39th inductee to the International Surfboard Builders Hall of Fame. Now approaching 86, Ole has no plans of slowing down. He's doing what he loves best, one board at a time. Ole started surfing the waves of Southern California in 1948. The business of shaping surfboards began in 1958. His first shaping bay was inside a weathered Sunset Beach, California Quonset hut. Eventually, Ole opened his first surfboard shop in Seal Beach. That wasn't the last shop or the last stop for Ole. In the 1970s, while on sabbatical, Ole came to Maui and never left. Although the location of his shop has changed over the years, Lahaina is his home base. From 9 a.m. to noon, 6 days a week, Ole is in his Lahaina shop, working his handmade magic. In fact, Ole may be the oldest living pro shaper that still makes surfboards. With literally thousands of boards built by Ole over the years, it's no surprise that people all over the world own Ole surfboards. Some boards will never see the water, as they are made for display, while others are made for the riders to enjoy on the waves. There's a long growing list of orders for custom surfboards on the wall of his bay. From locals, the mainland, Japan, and beyond, Ole estimates that he makes over 100 boards a year, all by hand, all the old-fashioned way. Now that's a lot of boards. Since 1993, every August in Lahaina, you'll find longboard lovers at the annual Ole Longboard Classic at Laniapoko Beach Park. Ole himself doesn't ride much anymore, but the passion for surfing will always be with him, and shaping boards is a big part of that passion.
See the picture of him standing on the road? See the picture of Eric standing on the road in there? How many boards do you have? Oh, he's written with Robert. It's just a newspaper print. That one.
Came here on a leave of absence and you just never went back.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Felt pretty good to me, being over here, Maui.